Welcome to this episode of Harvey County Talk. Our guest on the program today is
Beki Hastings with Cup of Ambition right here in good old Newton, USA. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I've seen all kinds of things on social media. You do a very good job, obviously, of letting people know that you're there. And I'm starting to see people come back with reviews and comments. And Sissy's even been in there with little Sissy
Indeed.
to see you. And I have not personally been there yet, but I'm really interested in what is offered there and what your goals were and just kind of the vision behind it. Because it's always cool to see new things come, you know, to Newton to offer things to the community.
Thank you. No, you're right. It has been fun to watch it develop and grow, and it is just starting to snowball, which was the intention all along. I knew it was a really different concept. I knew that there was a learning curve for the general public, and people are starting to catch on, and now it is escalating, and it's seeing really good traction. So that makes me really happy.
Very good. Very good. So just to kind of open it up, who is Beki Hastings?
I find myself very boring, very nondescript, very nondescript. I have been a Newton or Harvey County local for, 22 years, quite some time. So I've been in the area for a really long time. I've owned several businesses, mostly small micro businesses, and in 2020, for the first time in my adult life, I had to go get a real job, is what I say, kind of a corporate job. 2020, the pandemic shut everything down. One of my businesses is an event, and I knew that we were not going to be able to have our event of thousands of people, and that played out to be true. So I went and got a job at our local Walmart and actually enjoyed it, thoroughly loved it. That was a huge step. I had not had a traditional employer or a real boss in 18 years, and absolutely loved it. So I ended up sticking there for 2.5 years just because it was really fun. So long after it was necessary, I still hung out there and had a good time. And then it was just time to get back to who I am as an entrepreneur. So it was time to move back.
Very cool.
To
just a quick question. Do you think that had a lot to do with, I've worked in retail myself personally, and I enjoy just being with people, my coworkers, people helping people and all that aspect. So would you say that that might be one of those motivating reasons why you enjoyed the job so much?
It was definitely the coworkers, and I really credit the local management. Our Walmart just happens to have really good management. I can't speak for the entire corporation worldwide, but our local Walmart has really good management, really good employees. And, you see people who have stayed there their entire life and are career employees. And I think that speaks to who the management is and how they treat people locally. So I just really enjoyed it. It's a good team there.
Speaking of management,
yes.
I noticed on some of your social media posts that you are growing your team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so our business is currently open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. I am not capable of doing all of those days and taking only Sundays off. So I definitely had to have some employees. And I have been, trying to add additional employees in to ease the load on everyone.
Sure. Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about your business model for A Cup of Ambition?
Yeah. So it is, like I said, it's a really different model. It's a really different concept. And it is structured sort of like a gym membership. So it is a membership lounge. A person would get a membership for $40 a month, similar to a gym. That allows them access to the space. It is a very quiet space, very luxurious, elegant, but also really casual and comfortable. So for that price, they can come in anytime they want during those business hours I just mentioned and sit and work and focus. So we've got a lot of pastors, we have students, we have small business owners. Members also get a stack of guest passes, so then they can bring other people, which is really nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so I catch that vibe when I'm seeing what's going on, and I was just trying to think of all the people that could be benefited by what at least I know of what you offer to date, and kind of what you explained here just a few seconds ago. Are you finding that there's a real draw, given the fact that in today's society we do have a lot of remote working, and so, I mean, especially you mentioned COVID in the past, and I've personally worked from home for a few years now, and it's just home can only serve so many days before it's just redundant to be there.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that is exactly it. And a lot of the clientele so far has been small business owners, people who traditionally work from home. And you're right, sometimes you just can't stay home in that home office anymore. And often for women, when they're home, they feel the pull from the dishes in the sink and the laundry that just needs switched out. Just let me run do that real quick. And it's really hard to stay focused on the task at hand. And so this provides that complete breakaway space to really focus. So I've been interested to watch it develop, but some of our members will come in and sit for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, and just work. You know, just really get in their zone and work, which is great.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I was supercharged about in your the way you have it set up there is it's not someone that's making a lot of noise, making coffee and teas all the time and other drinks. It's more of a quiet, an ambiance, if you will, you know, and it's geared from the minute you walk in, it's geared. It kind of reminded me of like in the olden days when the librarian would look up from the books and go, shh, you know, but it's not like that, you know what I mean? But it's that, you know, you're like, oh. Hey, wait, let me catch the vibe. Okay, I got it.
So everybody kind of gets that the environment should be conducive to, we're not in here to talk on our phone while you're doing this or whatnot. And then, even then, I guess, I don't know if we covered it in a lot of depth, but I'm always interested. You know, you mentioned that you're an entrepreneur, that you went back to doing this, and that this was the avenue in which you pursued current day to be able to benefit the community, a dream, a vision. What was kind of the reason behind why you did? Did you say, was it a thing where I want to see something like this in the community, but there's not that, so I'm going to fill a void? Or was it more than that, where you saw this somewhere else, or you saw this vision and we wanted to be able to have it, and it's just working its way through pretty much groundbreaking grassroots type? I mean,
well, I really like that question, even though it's a difficult one to answer, because I had not seen the concept anywhere. It literally popped into my head one day and hit me just square in the forehead. And within 24 hours, I was searching for rental spaces. And I've never owned a brick and mortar. I've never, even though I've been an entrepreneur, all of my businesses have been remote. I've never gone into that route of a real landlord and locking myself into something. But now I can look back, even because this was in September that I had the idea, I can look back and say, that was absolutely a calling. I don't have an explanation for it. It was such a definitive moment that I absolutely had to do this, that was planted in my head. So yes, idea, concept, within 24 hours, I had signed my first lease. Unfortunately, a couple of the leases fell through, so it took a while to land in my permanent space, which is where we are now. But I just knew that there really needed to be this quiet space. And like Sissy said, there is no barista, there are no espresso machines, there are no blenders. It's literally self-serve. And within that first 24 hours, I kept playing with the name, and I was thinking it needs to be, I don't know, a cup of motivation, a cup of, it has to be a cup of something. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, ambition. It's a cup of ambition. Why wouldn't it be a cup of ambition? Right. And I have, ironically, been a Dolly Parton fan since I was a really little girl. I've loved Dolly my whole life. And I thought, why didn't that hit me 24 hours ago? Why did it even take me 24 hours to come up with that? But, the line in the song, Working 9 to 5, is pour yourself a cup of ambition. And that was the concept from the beginning, was that people would literally self-serve their coffee. They pour their own cup of ambition or cup of tea and get to work. So that's the intention, is a really quiet space that you can focus and work.
So in a way, I mean, you could say it's a creative space.
Absolutely.
It's a place, once again, where if somebody's looking for maybe some, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but general term of what does this location offer, it is a very classy, quiet, creative space for serious entrepreneurs to not only study or do what they would like to do, obviously remotely, but you also, from what Sissy said, have something like a boardroom or a conference room or something. So there could even be an opportunity for someone who frequents that place to then bring a client in.
Absolutely. Yes. So there is a conference room as well. The members get free access to that conference room. If someone isn't a member, they can rent the conference room by an hourly rate. But members do have access to that conference room. So like we said earlier, it's not really a space that's conducive for maybe taking loud phone calls or video calls, but if a member needs to take a video call, they can step into the conference room and have a totally private space to do that.
Very cool.
So,
yeah, very cool.
Awesome. And are you still doing appointment only for events on Sunday when you're closed for regular hours?
Yes, yes, that is currently the case. And I think I even have the next 3 or 4 weekends booked for private events.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wedding showers, family reunions, that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Not really conducive to children's birthday parties because that can get a little wild. So still somebody that needs, a space for 25 to 45 people probably, and just an upscale environment that they feel proud to present to their friends and family or clients or small business or whoever they're hosting. It's a really good space for that.
Right. And also, when we talked last, when I visited your place there at 131 West 6th Street in Newton.
I was just going to ask, where's this at? I thought it was on Main Street, so you're giving back to the community in that way. I mean, it's lovely to see businesses on Main Street.
Yeah, and you're still in the heart of downtown, as you've said multiple times on your social media, and that's absolutely true because she's just a block off Main, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy to find, and you're in good company on that block. Yes. You had said that one of the things that stuck out in my mind from our initial conversation was you had known someone that had done signed a contract for business in their car because there really wasn't any place that was conducive, or safe or whatever to do that. And so I don't know how many people think about that, right?
Well, it hits you and I close to home, Sissy. I mean, we're entrepreneurs ourselves, right? Doing this and we have a studio and whatnot, but it's difficult just in general to be able to navigate situations where we could just meet with somebody on the, an hour or something. And there's other places to have a coffee and meet. Absolutely. But you're also still providing a different environment altogether.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's someplace that so in this situation, Sissy and me are Harvey County Talk, right? So is there business rates?
Yeah, I have corporate rates for businesses, for small businesses. So let's say an insurance office, a real estate office, a church, whomever. There are corporate rates that they would have multiple members, and then again each of those members get guest passes. So in the church example, maybe the pastor has the main membership, his 6 or 8 staff members each get a membership at a discounted rate. Each of those 6 or 8 staff members gets guest passes. So then the worship team leader can take in someone and meet with them privately and discuss, or the youth pastor can take someone in and sit in a quiet corner and counsel them. So it works really well for corporate businesses.
Awesome. What are the plans for the future scaling up? Are you?
I don't know. I believe that the business model has real potential if we're looking from strictly a business standpoint. I think it could be duplicated in a lot of different cities. I think it has so much potential. It will be interesting to see how Newton latches onto it and how well it does. So this could be the flagship location, or this could end up being the solo location for the entirety. We'll see how it plays out.
Right. Well, and what's awesome is you've already seen growth, right? And that's where when we talked a little while ago, you were just starting out. And so it's exciting to watch your social media posts because you're very good about being inclusive to the community and talking about what's been going on and what kind of, you kind of envision with you, right? Where a Cup of Ambition's going. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, like I said, I have been a member of this community for 20 plus years. By nature, I'm very introverted, which I really believe I've created an introverted paradise with Cup of Ambition. we don't like to socialize. We sit in our own corner alone with our little cup and we work. So I know how appealing that has been for me for 20 years to sort of be reclusive and to stay hidden and to lay low and to even hide behind some of my other businesses. And I'm comfortable with that. I also knew that this one needed a more inclusive voice, and I had to sort of emerge a bit and be a bit more visible so that the community does understand that this isn't an outside entity that is starting some little pop-up business in Newton, that this really is a local resident that cares about the community. And I've been challenged on that. Several people have really pushed to want to know, who is this? Who's running this? Where are my dollars going? I want to know who I'm supporting.
Right.
And it really is just a small little mom and pop shop locally owned.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But by staying hidden, that wouldn't serve me well. So
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because then you have to be out there in front telling people what you're offering, or
Right.
they won't ever find you. You know, I mean, I hate to say it that way, or it won't be value added benefit to what you're trying to do.
Right.
You know, so if I'm somebody that's just strolling down Main Street, I'm listening to this program right now, and I'm wondering, I'm sitting outside and I'm wondering, well, what's inside there? When I walk in the door, what can I experience?
When you walk in, 98% of the people first notice the paint color, which is interesting. Everybody walks in and says, oh my gosh, this paint color, the decor, the furnishings, it is dark, but it's well lit at the same time. So it's dark and luxurious. It was styled with all vintage and repurposed furniture and artwork collected for months and months from all over, from Wyoming to local to, all estate sales. So it has just this really cool vibe. A lot of the intention in the decor was, we don't want it too masculine and we don't want it too feminine. I didn't want a really girly space that men didn't feel comfortable, but I also didn't want a super masculine space. So it really meets both of those notes. And it sort of an English smoking lounge was a lot of what we went with.
I totally can see it.
Yeah. Kind of an old British smoking lounge.
Yeah.
Just this really
and that
relaxed,
plaid chair,
elegant,
man. I love it.
Plaid
Yeah.
and leather sofas. And we don't do cigars, but it would be a really good place to have a cigar lounge.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you've kind of got it arranged where you can have like 6 or 8, maybe even 10
Yes.
people around like a big dining room table,
Yes.
work area. You've obviously got the separate conference room available with a
Right.
door that closes. And then you've got little nooks that are kind of, I don't want to say themed, but they might be, right?
Yeah. Like you said, these multiple seating areas, and some are definitely solo seating areas for a student or a business owner to just really put their headphones on and work on their project. And some are more social seating areas with a couch and a coffee table and a couple of leather chairs in front, so you can really visit and socialize next to the windows. You mentioned someone possibly driving down Main Street and hearing about it. It's literally a block off Main Street. So Back Alley Pizza is our neighbor.
Awesome.
We love Back Alley. Druber's is our neighbor. We're right there, but it really is tucked away that you wouldn't notice it on purpose. You wouldn't notice it, unless you're intentionally going. It's a destination location.
Yeah, you don't have the flashy lights on the
Correct.
outside saying, here I am, here
Right,
I am,
right.
come see me.
Stop here.
Right.
Yeah, I have things you could buy.
Right, and that really does help, because I don't want a lot of walk-in traffic. I don't want a lot of chaos at the front door, and we don't want a lot of that. Of course, we get some because people have to come in and inquire and check out what it is, and that's great. But if I were having big banners and balloons out front, it would definitely bring in a lot, and that would be a distraction to the members who have purchased a membership and are really trying to work.
Yeah, for the purpose of
Yes.
what this place is intended
Yes.
for. $40 to me seems very reasonable. I always look at individuals who are startups or entrepreneurs, and I can tell you, and Sissy in my case, you got to start out strong, and you got to really put your money where your mouth is and be selective in what you're spending your money on. And I'm just listening to what you're saying and what Sissy has said. I'm going to get in there and see the place, because it's what I'm hearing is that it is a really attractive environment for people, even such as Sissy and I, who need to sometimes have that place where we sit down and talk to people. And bringing them out to a studio is not necessarily the place for that. Sometimes,
Right. Or just cuss and discuss what we cuss and discuss on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is an elegant space to host people. It is a space that you would feel proud to be in. Even if, in the example you just gave, even if neither of you had a membership, guest passes or a day pass is $10. So I've got even some realtors from Wichita that don't have memberships, but they're in Newton occasionally. They need a place to sign papers with their clients. They don't want to sign papers in a car like we discussed earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can grab a guest pass for $10, come in and sit down in a place that they're proud of and not uncomfortable in.
See, that's even better. Yeah.
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 So
And
if someone doesn't want to commit to even a $40 membership, guest pass is $10.
Yeah.
Well, and if I can recall correctly, the $40 a month membership breaks down to $1.33 a day.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is cheaper than any
For
cup
your
of coffee I can
internet
get
and all
anywhere
that. Yeah,
other
or
than
even
my
if you're-
house.
Even if you utilize it maybe 3 or 4 times a month,
Right.
that's still pretty accommodating.
Right,
Yes.
right.
You know.
It is. I just can't get over it's a whole vibe.
And when you think about
I mean,
it,
really, it is a whole vibe.
you know,
yeah.
and for like once again, anybody listening, this is just another thing that popped into my mind and probably was already said on the program, and I'm just catching up to it or whatever. But you know, it's the idea that of all these other places that you can go to be able to do this, those are generally public places.
Correct.
So you don't have any control over the environment, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when
Right.
you're involved in what you have, you keep a standard in which makes sure that everybody's accommodating everybody when they're doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it's a vibe. And that has been the intention. I think that has been part of the learning curve for the public because people think, oh, it's another coffee shop. But we don't sell coffee. We sell space. We sell ambiance. We sell environment. The cup of coffee is free, you know, and it's self-serve. So
Right.
it is a really different model. But like you said, that keeps down on the chaos of a really public space. And
Yeah.
I had actually anticipated students being probably my largest audience, students that needed a place to really work. Maybe because I initially opened in the summertime, that has not proven to be the case. But what I've seen the most of is pastors, local clergy have really caught on to this and utilized the space. And I've heard repeatedly, if they're in a different public space, they're constantly approached by people they know.
That's correct.
And of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
they want to talk to the people they know. They
Yes.
love the people they know. But if they need to work on sermon notes or if they need to study, they need to not have frequent interruptions.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this provides that you're not really going to have a lot of people coming and just chit-chatting. It's an introvert's paradise.
You know, it's so true.
Or like
It's so
even
true.
somebody who's an extrovert that really does have put themselves in, and I'm one of these people that have put myself in a kind of a bind because
Yes.
I'm so out there and have been that, well, I can't walk into a Walmart, and I do want to talk to
Right.
people. I
Right.
love to talk to people. This is what I do, but sure makes for grocery shopping be hard. So if you're
Yes.
trying to do anything else out there in the public and you know, then if it has to do with signing a contract or you don't want people coming up to you consistently and interrupting, that just totally does away with any privacy.
Well, and the chatter. You
Yes.
know, it always happens, right? You're trying to have a conversation and you're sorry, can you repeat that? And before
Right.
long, you're almost head to head, right?
Right.
So you can hear each other.
Right.
You know, it just happens, you know. So, and you're not going to find that over there at Cup of Ambition. I mean, it's a whole vibe.
Well, and I'm a big person on vision,
that's
right?
going to be your new
Thank you.
slogan.
It's a
I
vision.
know. I like vision and action. I'm a person that when I hear people say they have a vision for something, I want to see them put that into action. And then from there, my question is, what's the vision for the future?
For Cup of Ambition?
Yes.
Well, like I said, I really don't know. I wish I had more clarity on it, if we're honest. That's why I go back to the answer that it really was a calling, because in 1,000 ways, it doesn't make sense. It's a strange concept. I have never seen it before. I've never seen it since then. There was no roadmap to follow. So I'm piecing things together. If I were to open maybe a traditional coffee shop or a gym or any other business, there's a roadmap. There are thousands that have been done that I can duplicate bits and pieces and know how this looks in the future. With Cup of Ambition, I have no idea what I'm stepping into. So it's a huge leap of faith, and I'm just watching it play out and doing as much diligence as I can do and trying to pay justice to what I was given.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I guess we're kind of wrapping it up towards the end. There's 2 things I want to get out of you before we go. And one thing is I always give everybody who's sitting behind a mic in this studio the opportunity to speak directly to the hearts and minds of those listening. And you can say whatever you want to say, and then let everybody know where to find you, how to get a hold of you.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll flip those in reverse. First, how to get a hold of us. Literally walk into Cup of Ambition, 131 West 6th Street. If you know where Back Alley is, you can find us, or contact us on social media. We answer all of the Facebook messages and all of the Instagram messages. Instagram happens to be a bit more active than Facebook, but I'm on both and easily found. Just Cup of Ambition, and sometimes you can add the word Newton, but it's Cup of Ambition. What would I want to say to people? Follow your dreams, listen to God's nudge, take the leap of faith, because it can be really scary, but why wouldn't you? You have 2 choices. You stay stuck or you make progress. Both are can be really uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to stay stuck, but it's uncomfortable to step out into the void of the unknown.
Right.
So which one do you want to take? Do you want to take the adventure, or do you want to stay stuck forever?
Right. Awesome.
Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much, Becky, for coming on. It was good to get to know you. I
you.
hadn't
You
met
as
you
well.
previously, and I'll be getting down to the Cup of Ambition here shortly.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Well,
So,
thanks for listening to this episode of Harvey County Talk. I was your host, Lance Gormley.
and I was your co-host, Sissy C.
Make sure and reach out and tell Sissy or I what you're thinking.
And have a good week, everybody.